What a way to spend a Sunday, eh? We've got an awesome road, epic views, beautiful weather, and an even more beautiful car. Ladies and gents, this is the 2014 Mercedes-Benz CLA 45 AMG. And after driving it for 15 minutes, I absolutely adore it. Now this car represents Mercedes-Benz's direct rival to the Audi RS3 sedan, because the CLA is the sedan version of the A-Class and the A-Class is the A3 rival. So that's how that works. Now I've driven the RS3 and this CLA is definitely a direct rival to the RS3, because while some people think that the 2-litre 4-cylinder in this car isn't as vocal as the RS3, which is kind of true, but this thing runs it very close. I mean, you don't need the 2.5-litre 5-cylinder engine to sound this good. I mean, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but this thing pops and crackles all the time. And the cabin is pretty well insulated from the pops and crackles, but they're definitely there, and it's definitely vocal. Now at full chat, this thing really does pop and crackle, and it gives you that little gargle on the upshift. And the way it does that is simply by interrupting the firing process of the cylinders as the gear changes, so that the pistons aren't firing all the time. It kind of interrupts them, and it's kind of like when you get a cold shiver, you go, ooh, that's what the car does on the upshift. And the results are awesome. And it also has the double declutching function on the downshift, so it automatically rev matches for you, so that it revs it up and gives you those pops and crackles on the downshift. Now, as you can probably tell, the car that I'm driving today isn't fully standard. It's been lowered, it's got the custom rear ring on the back, it's got the stripes, and it's also been fitted with a performance chip, which allows this car to do the 0 to 100 sprint in the same time as an Audi RS6 Performance, 3.7 seconds, as opposed to the stock car's 4.7 seconds. And even in comfort mode, this thing is audible, and I love it. And if you're setting off from a hill, this thing will hold you there until you get going. But that being said, setting off from the lights, the car does feel sort of lazy, dare I say it. If you launch it, it does not feel lazy at all. I mean, it's fantastic, but just setting off gently, it kind of hesitates, like it doesn't really want to get up and go. It's like, okay, let's go. So once it is going, it's absolutely fine. Leaving it in comfort mode, the transmission can be a little bit indecisive, or just hesitant, I should say. Whereas Audi's transmissions tend to be a little bit more decisive. This one kind of waits around a little bit, but you stick it in manual mode or just use the pedals to override the automatic function for a few seconds, and it really does get up and go. It does exactly what you want it to do, which is really nice. So it just depends on your driving style and how you want the car to be driven. That's going to depend how the car actually drives for you. Now this thing does feel big for a small car. The RS3 does feel a little bit more compact. However, this thing feels a little bit more stable. It feels flatter in the corners than the RS3, which I never thought I'd say for a Mercedes against an Audi RS model. So I'll just put it into manual now. So that's third gear. We'll go down to second and give it some. So yeah, you could probably hear that, and that's extremely entertaining to do. This is going to entertain anyone. It doesn't matter if you don't have the 5-cylinder. This thing's 4-cylinder is an absolute crowd pleaser, let me tell you. Now, one of the little funny things that I like about this car is the little hug that it gives you when you get in. You put your seatbelt on, you get ready to go, and then it just tightens it a little bit. And it's almost as if the car's saying, welcome aboard, and gives you like a polite little hug. It's funny as. Now the shift pedals themselves are pretty good. They seem to be mounted slightly too high though, like it's almost as if your pinkies are gonna fall off the bottom of the shift pedals. But besides that, they're really good. They're nice to use, and they make the transmission shift nice and quickly for you. So Besides the high location of them, they're actually really good. And when you get inside this car, the first thing you notice is the interior, and I'm a pretty big fan of the AMG interiors because it's all nice black leather with red stitching everywhere, and as you can see, the red seat belts, and I think it just makes everything feel so appropriate to the AMG's pedigree. The seats are a little bit firm, but they are really supportive as well. I mean, the bolstering just holds you in place so much better than other seats that I've used before, and that is really going to come in handy if you are using this car to its full potential, which is something that AMG customers really tend to like to do, even in an all-wheel drive, turbocharged automatic one. Yeah, they're still really good. One of the biggest flaws I found with the interior is definitely the center multimedia screen. The reason I'm saying this is because the ratio of screen to border is just too high, so the border around the screen is just too thick to suit the screen. I don't know why they even went with it to start with. I don't know if it's necessary, but it must have been necessary if they went for it. But I like what they've done with the new A-Class that's coming out. They've made it the dual screen like the S-Class, so that's really filtered down to the A-Class, and it makes that feel so much more premium because the screen that they're using with these ones just feels like a bit of an afterthought, and that's kind of what most journalists have said about them in the past. And when it comes to tech, the CLA's got all the tech you could ever need, and especially for an entry-level car, this thing is really well kitted out. I mean, it's got fully electric adjustable seats all around. Mirrors are all electronically controlled and folding. They've got the blind spot monitoring on the side, so that little orange triangle will glow red when there's someone there, and it will beep at you if you indicate in that direction to say, no, don't move, just stay here, wait for them to go. So the amount of tech in this car is really impressive, and the sound system is just as impressive. They've got the Harman & Kardon sound system, which sounds so much clearer than a lot of other standard manufacturers' sound systems that are out there. And another thing that would change about this interior, besides the screen, is the layout of buttons on the right-hand side of the infotainment cluster, because it's just 1 to 9, including 0 and the star and hash. It's like an old school telephone. It's like nobody remembers people's numbers nowadays. It's just all inbuilt into your phone, so you don't really need the actual numbers to be there anymore. So, I mean, I know it was 2014, but even for 2014, they probably should have done something else. So for the baby AMG, it actually handles really well, and it filters out the bumps really well for an AMG model. A lot of car manufacturers can't seem to really get the balance between, you know, flat handling and comfort, but AMG's done it really well this time. They've nailed it. And in comfort mode, this thing actually really is comfortable. It filters out all the minor imperfections in the road, so all the little bumps and corrugations you don't actually feel, you just glide over them. The bigger bumps it'll feel, like any car will, but it also handles really flat in the corners as well, so you don't have to worry about having the comfort trade off the dynamic cornering because it's nice and flat and it's comfortable as well. So it's pretty much an awesome everyday car. Unless you're trying to squeeze 6 footers in the back seat every single day, the CLA 45 AMG is actually one of the best all-rounders that you can buy because it's got such a good driving experience. The engine is plenty powerful enough, boot's big enough, and it's got the all-wheel drive system to keep you safe in all kinds of weather. So the CLA 45 is definitely going to be worth your time looking at if you are after a small, fast, compact sedan, and definitely if you're looking for one with an all-wheel drive system. This and the RS3 kind of go toe-to-toe. There's not really that many other rivals out there to fit this category, but definitely check out the CLA 45, guys, because it is a masterpiece.